Guys, what is going on? Hope everybody's doing alright. I'm here to give you my impressions of Nioh 3 so far. The game is finally out. Now, I did absolutely demolish the demo a few days ago that came along, done everything in it, couldn't wait to get the game today, and I have done one hell of a hefty session on the game. So I do have like quite a lot of hours in this game now, and I don't really think my opinion about this game is going to change from this point on. You know, this is definitely not going to be like a negative video or anything about Nioh 3. I'm enjoying myself with the game so far. I'm going to talk about some of the things I really like about the game, but I'm also really going to focus on some of the things that I'm not happy about with Nioh 3. Now, that's not to say it's a bad game, but there's stuff in the game that I'm not happy about, and I really hope they don't go further on with some of this stuff in the series' future. So I really hope people can understand where I'm coming from with some of these points I'm about to make. It might seem like it's an overall more negative thing, but it's not really. It's just talking about some of the aspects I really like about the game, and a lot of the aspects that I'm kind of worried about for the future of the series here. One of the things I absolutely love about Nioh is that it really came at a perfect time for myself, when I was really suffering heavily from Souls fatigue. You know, a lot of people that have played Dark Souls since like Demon Souls back in the day and Dark Souls 1, we've had our fair share of those games. They don't really change too much over the years because there's a bunch of new fans just getting into them and they maybe don't feel like they need to change a whole lot. So for myself, you know, it always left me a bit craving something else, and I'm so glad Nioh 1 came out when it did. Honestly, what a great game that was, and I don't really think you can get anything else like Nioh on the market today. You know, I think it's definitely Team Ninja's best series at this moment in time. I don't think Ronin and Wo Long, when those games came out, were anywhere near as good as the Nioh games. We put them down to experimental games that they were trying, and that was fine, you know. Ultimately, what I'm trying to say is, I still think what makes Nioh amazing is absolutely in Nioh 3. The gameplay is still as addictive as it ever was because the combat is absolutely amazing like it's been in previous Nioh games. But there is stuff in Nioh 3 that I can't help but think negatively about. Like in my video when we talked about the demo and the impressions I had on that, I still have a lot of the feelings that were in that video. I still do think the open field, if people still want to call it that, dudes, it's open world. This is an open world game. You know, I don't think it adds a whole lot to the Nioh franchise. I really don't. I think what Nioh was really good at was its mission-based structure gameplay. Tightly designed levels that the developers knew exactly what you were seeing, when you were seeing it. There was nothing else to go by. It was completely a balanced experience because of the level layout that they had. There was a whole bunch of shortcuts and all that stuff that complemented the levels. Every level was always fun. Now, there was aspects in Nioh 2 when I found their level design a bit more lazier because there was a bunch of caves and mountains and stuff like that in Nioh 2, which is why I always still think it's a really good experience for people to still play Nioh 1 and not skip it, because I do think like Nioh 1 has the best environments of the series still and best overall level design over Nioh 2, because there's just a bit too much of the same atmosphere stuff going on in Nioh 2, and Nioh 1 has a bit more of it. For Nioh 3, obviously they've done this open field thing, and I don't think it complements how Nioh is structured. With Nioh 3, what I just don't like about the open field is it is just a big tick the box exercise. Now, the thing about it is, it's obviously more fun indulging in the tick the box exercise playing a Nioh game because the gameplay is fun. But at the end of the day, it's actually no better than like your average Assassin's Creed game tick the box exercises. Assassin's Creed gameplay is no good, and that's why stuff like that gets even more boring. But because the gameplay in Nioh is better, it's not as boring. But trust me, when you're hitting the other regions later on, picking up your 50th chest or whatever it is to get your samurai locks, you're gonna start feeling it. It's all about just burning the player out. You know, Nioh's definitely a franchise where you can get burned out. It happens to the best of us. There's like 5 playthroughs to play in Nioh games, and You cannot tell me you enjoy every single one of them. You might enjoy New Game, you might enjoy New Game Plus, but 3 and 4 are run past everything material, and then you can finally try and enjoy Way of the Nioh if you're no bored of all the levels you've already seen. That's just how it works, you know? But the thing is, you don't want to be doing that for like 5 playthroughs in a row either. That's like not good. And that brings me on to like a problem I've got with the open field again here, is it's completely imbalanced. Every single area in the first open region, I have done the lowest level area before going to the next area, and I am naturally over leveled by like 15 levels just from normally leveling up. Now, in previous games, every time you could level up in a Nioh game, you leveled up. It didn't really affect anything that bad. Nioh was always a series where it's like, oh, that level requirement for that level is like level 50. But I'm like level 70, I'll still get my ass kicked, no big deal. That's always how Nioh was. And it's the same with, oh, I'm tackling a level 50 mission at level 30. I can still beat it, you know, as long as I play relatively good and careful. That's the mentality. But with Nioh 3, that's just not how it works. If you just absolutely annihilate everything in this game, because it is too easy because of the power creep, I don't really feel like they have balanced this game too well, and I think it actually removes a certain aspect about what makes Nioh fun, and that is overcoming the enemies and the hard enemies. We're absolutely like 2-3 shotting enemies in this game. I have purposefully had to keep my level lower just to try and keep a balanced experience with the enemies. So I am not leveling up on purpose, but I'm still absolutely kicking the crap out of every enemy that I come across. And stuff like this was happening in Nioh 2 as well, where you would get non-player characters coming into your missions. The thing about Nioh 2 is you could actually tell them to wait back there and I'll take the mission ahead and do it on my own to make it balanced, so we're not like overpowering the enemies. In this game, every single side mission I've done where you've been accompanied by an NPC, you can't tell them to wait behind. They're coming no matter what. So again, you're just absolutely ragdolling the enemies, they stand no chance. I hate that the gameplay has what feels like no balance at all. Like the open field has no balance. What also sucks about the open field as well, guys, here, is they have locked basic Nioh features behind all these valuables you have to collect in the open world. So this stuff isn't actually optional. It's not optional. That's the problem. If you wanted to just go and start doing the main missions only in this game, you would be suffering. At the end of the day, in the demo, the first main boss of that region, I ended up beating that boss without running water, which is the skill you get for key pulsing to be able to dodge. That is a Nioh fundamental spell. Dodging and key pulsing while dodging is a fundamental Nioh spell, and I didn't think you got it in the demo, but little did I know it was just in a chest I missed. That's the problem. Samurai locks. Locking samurai locks, your basic ability points, and skills being removed from the skill tree for Nioh 3 and just put in chests, there's an aspect about that that feels wrong to me. So you cannot just do a playthrough going straight to the final missions, because you will be missing basic features about what makes Nioh fun in general. Or else you'll just have absolutely no samurai points. Nothing like that. The way it worked in previous Nioh games is, you actually didn't need to do side stories or anything like that if you didn't want to. Sure, you would get a bunch of bonus ability points if you actually done them, get rewarded, cool. But in Nioh 3, you have to indulge in all this stuff or you are severely handicapping yourself for basic features of the game here, and I really don't like that. Because in the previous Nioh games, you got samurai locks, you got ninja locks, all these things for actually just leveling up naturally. And you don't get that anymore in this game. So there's a part of Nioh that really feels like it's suffered because of this open field. Now, like I've said before, guys, I wasn't trying to make this video entirely like negative or anything, because I'm having a blast with the game. It's more Nioh. But there's an aspect about this game that really feels like they are trying to cater to a bunch of other fan bases with this game, and us existing Nioh people kind of just have to put up with this and just be like, well, at least I'm still playing a Nioh game, you know? At the end of the day, I still think Nioh 1 and 2 are gonna be seen as a better overall game than Nioh 3, but it's still a good game for what it is, if that makes sense. I guess you can kind of blame all my complaints down to the open field. It's that simple, because I do think if you create mostly generic open worlds with tick-the-box exercises, you're gonna pay for it, you know? That tightly designed structure of previous Nioh games is completely gone in Nioh 3. Yes, you still get the odd sub-missions here and there that do lock you inside little mini areas, and I'm glad they still exist. They somewhat feel like an old Nioh experience, but they are still areas within the open field, because they've not created anything new here, you know? Maybe later on in the game there are going to be like new things entirely there, and if so, that's great. But ultimately, I do feel like the series has paid a price to become open world, just to be more like Elden Ring and more like everything else, when Nioh always succeeded at being the best at what it did. So it's gave up being the best at what it did just to be more like other things. There's another problem with this game as well, is it's also suffered the Elden Ring reused boss problem, you know? A couple of bosses I've already seen from previous Nioh games. Unfortunately, I smashed them first try. Why? Because we were over level. And I actually think that's still why you can reset your level for free in this game, is because they're like, well, Nioh veterans might not want to be completely overpowered for this game, so we'll let them do it for free. Yeah, but I think there'll be a bunch of like new fans coming into the Nioh series with this game purely because they're on an absolute power trip with how this game's been designed. Because there's zero balance going on in this game whatsoever, you know? There's going to be a lot of people that maybe say like, you know, the game only gets hard on New Game Plus and New Game Plus Plus and stuff like that, when that's just garbage, because Nioh 2 was fine on its first playthrough, and so was Nioh 1 hard. Never did I have to handicap myself in levels to feel like to get a challenge. In this game, we're just absolutely smashing stuff, and that's because the developer doesn't know if you're going to A, they don't know if you're going to B, they don't know if you're going to C, D, E, F first. They can't know. That's the problem with open world design of this type. They can't know, so everything is completely out of whack balance-wise in this game. Ultimately though, I did want to just say that I'm still having fun with Nioh 3, and I think there's going to be a lot of people loving how this game is, just enjoying that we've got more Nioh. I said in my previous video when we were discussing the demo impressions of the game that, you know, I'm not a graphics whore, I've never have been, but I do think that Nioh 3 should have been a little bit more of a generational leap in the graphics department. I would have loved to have seen something fidelity-wise on par with like Demon's Souls Remake. Just imagine a Nioh looking like that good. Not exactly the same, but like new textures, new castles, new everything. Like not stuff we still seen in Nioh 1, you know, like 10 plus years ago. Because the game still does look like Nioh 2.5. It doesn't really look any better, nor does it look worse. And I expect a little bit more for Nioh 3. And I really hope if we get a Nioh 4, that's going to be the game where we actually see a huge leap in terms of, wow, this is the next gen Nioh. Like I said, not a graphics whore, but when you've had like 2 games in a row looking the same and the third game looks exactly the same, it's kind of like we should maybe be doing something else a little bit here. Ultimately though guys, I am still having fun with Nioh 3. I think I'm going to have a great first playthrough, despite all my problems with the open field. Would I have rather had it not be like this? Absolutely, because I do think it takes away from what made Nioh Nioh. But at the end of the day, I do think this game here has went a bit too mainstream for its own good. But in doing so, we might get a bunch of new fans who can appreciate how Nioh was designed before, might make them try the previous games. I would love to hear what you guys think about Nioh 3 so far. Are you kind of like me? Problems with the open world, finding it a bit too easy there because of it, and imbalanced, mission structure no is good? Let me know. Or are you brand new to the series or just loving everything about it? I would love to hear what you think. This was not supposed to be like a negative video, just me talking about what I like and don't like. Ultimately, I like that it's more Nioh, but I don't like the way it's went, and I think it's suffering because of it. Thank you very much for watching the video, fellas, and take it easy, and I'll catch you in the next one.